I just went to Barney, spent your whole year's salary. I never wore Yeezys, that's a fact. Every week is fashion week for me.
Just chilling on longest obby on Roblox, and then I met these people, and they were coming up to this guy who was dressed up as a cheese, and they kept saying stuff like, "You are our savior." They're all dressed up as noob avatars, and then they started saying stuff like, "Goodness be to Kevin, Stuart, and Bob. They are our saviors," as well as Cheeseman. And then it just got really weird because the cheese man said, "Guys, something's going on. Can anyone help me, please?" And I said, "Okay, fine, I'll help." And then they said, my main account has been hacked, and it's really recent to my account, and I had it joined for a second. I think those noobs are hackers. I was playing on an alt, by the way, which will help through the next part. So then I quit the game because I was actually kind of scared after what that guy told me. I mean, I gave him some stuff on Adopt Me because apparently it was an Adopt Me bear. And then my old account, I tried to get back on the other day, it had been hacked. The pets I had on Adopt Me were gone. And even though I couldn't trade them on Royal High, all the stuff that I'd had on that account was somehow gone. And I couldn't get the password back, and so if you ever see these hackers who keep saying we are part of the minion cult, leave immediately.
I woke up, all of my group chats of my followers had changed their names to RIP this person, and basically it was that this girl had passed away from a brain tumor. Immediately my heart was like broken, and she's a huge supporter, and also she's just a sweet child, and as a person that's a sad thing to hear. But then as I started asking the group chats details about it, I would say, how did you guys find out so quickly? I just talked to her yesterday, and they were like, her mom DM'd us from her account, and that to me felt weird because I was like, well, first of all, did her mom know her password? Second of all, if this woman's daughter just passed away, is the first thing she's gonna do is get on Twitter and talk to a bunch of people she doesn't know? Something about this doesn't feel right to me. So then I opened up my DMs, and I got a DM from her later that day from her mother, who was saying, "This is such and such's mother. As you may have heard, such and such passed away from brain tumor, and we're really sad, we're really heartbroken, but we just wanted to let you know that she talked about you a lot, and she really cared about you, and you made a big difference in her life." And at this moment I'm like, wow, this is devastating. But then the more I read it, the more I'm like, there's a lot of typos in here. This seems like a weird thing that a mother wouldn't say, because it ended with even in her final days, and we're really sad, we're really heartbroken, but we just wanted to let you know that she talked about you a lot, and she really cared about you, and you made a big difference in her life. And at this moment I'm like, wow, this is devastating. But then the more I read it, the more I'm like, there's a lot of typos in here. This seems like a weird thing that a mother wouldn't say, because it ended with even in her final days, all she could talk about is how badly she wanted you to notice her. And now it's turning into a guilt trip of, oh, she was dying and I didn't pay attention to her, I didn't answer her DMs enough, I didn't like her tweets enough. And I just found it very odd that a mother would DM a YouTuber the day after her daughter passes away and say all she wanted was to be noticed by you. And so through not very much deductive reasoning, I find out that this is this girl, and she's pretending to be dead so that I will finally notice her, even though we had plenty of conversations in the past. And it was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. She's old enough to know better. It was deceitful. She had so many people upset about her, crying about it. Group chats literally flooded with people saying how upset they were. And all of this for what? Because I wasn't DMing you enough? So I finally got her to admit to me that it was her.
Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you how I scammed my rich friend in Adopt Me and how it went completely wrong. So from what I thought, she would scam people every single day for the pets that she had. And I only thought that because I saw her do it a couple times. And when I tell you this girl was rich, I mean she was rich. So one day, I was at her house, and we were just playing Adopt Me, and when she went to go up to the bathroom, I took her iPad, and I traded myself, and I traded all her pets to my account. And by the way, I had traded all the pets to an alt account so that she wouldn't see them in my inventory. So soon enough, she came back from the bathroom, and she had a meltdown. And she knew that it wasn't me because she knows that I wouldn't do something like that, and she saw my inventory. So then she goes running to her dad sobbing, telling him about it. And remind you, they are a really wealthy family. And then I was confused because he started screaming at her over these virtual pets. And then he said this. Part 2. So yeah, here he is screaming at her. And then he says this. We're just gonna call her Abby, but he says, Abby, I've spent probably over $1,000 on this game in the past year for you. And I was all confused. I was like, wait a minute. This girl had her dad buy her pets? And she's just over there sobbing. And so he takes her iPad and throws it across the room. It didn't break, but this man's was furious. And I'm just standing in the corner of the room with my jaw literally on the ground. Because he's over here flipping out on her, and I had them in my inventory the whole time. And so, of course, I had to give them back to her, but oh my god, I was so scared, and they were both mad at me. So then, my parents got involved, because apparently it was a too far gone prank. So that's when things started to get just way too dramatic. So we stopped talking for a while, but luckily, we talk again.
Story time about this girl who faked being Latina. So there was this girl who went to my school. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is the queen of lies. In every subject we talk about, Sarah always, and I mean always, comes up with a lie that has to do with her life. Here's an example. What if we're talking about Tom Holland? She'd just come in and say, oh yeah, Tom Holland is my dad's friend. I met him once. You know, these types of lies. Another one is when she told everyone she's Latina. It was lunchtime in school, and we were talking about where we went for the summer. Sarah tells us that she went to Spain, and she started telling us on what she did there, and says that she's 50% Latina. She also said that she lived in Spain for 6 years, and if there is any person who lived in Spain for 6 years, they must know how to speak Spanish. And then my friend Kayla asked her, what does good morning mean in Spanish? We all know it's buenos dias. She just...
One day I was playing Roblox. A few minutes later I met this guy in Adopt Me. We became friends. Then a little later we started dating. I gave him my number and we started texting. He wanted to FaceTime, but I had to go to my grandma's house, so I told him I would FaceTime later. Either way, I was a little nervous to FaceTime. Okay, anyway, I got to my grandma's house and I decided to bring my laptop because I still wanted to play Adopt Me with my boyfriend. I noticed that my grandma was on her phone the whole time. She literally never goes on her phone. Like when I went to say hi to her, she literally slapped me and told me to go away. Like, bitch, chill out, what did I do? Anyway, I went to join Adopt Me and I saw that my boyfriend was online. I joined and gave him a free giraffe. A second later my grandma jumps 5 feet in the air and she screamed yippee yappy wappy hoo ha hey, and she fell on her back. That was the moment I realized I was dating my own grandma. She got rushed to the hospital. A day later my mom told me she died. We went to her funeral. It was going normal until all of a sudden I hear the Adopt Me music coming from her funeral casket.
This is why I never trust anybody off of Roblox. A few years ago on Roblox, when I started playing Roblox, I would join a bunch of games and friend everybody in the game. I would even join different servers to friend more people. But this one time, I joined a server and I was very interested in the game, so I didn't friend anybody in that one. But I got a friend request from a girl named Ladybug134. Her name sounded very cool at the time, in my opinion, and I accepted it. Then I left the game to start chatting with her. She started chatting with me about saying, can I make a group chat with you and my friend on Roblox? I said, sure, why not? Because I meant more friends. Then in the group chat, I was saying hi, hello, and stuff like that, and the weird little XDs, emojis, and stuff like that. I was getting kind of confused because nobody else was talking in the chat. You will not believe what they chatted. Like for part 2. Part 3 up right now. By the way, thank you for all the support. The next day, I got a call from an anonymous number. I was confused, but I still answered it. At the time, I was younger, so I didn't really notice. When I answered, it was like a robot keep on repeating, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I got really scared and I hung up. I screenshotted the number just in case I would need it as evidence or proof. Because at the time, I thought I was doing something very smart. I kept on getting the same calls that kept on saying, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I know I did something really bad. To the point where I got so scared I had to tell my parents. I told my mom and she didn't really believe me at first. And then I showed her the picture of the proof of the photo that had the number of the anonymous number. Then she called it. You will not believe what the anonymous number said to her. Like for part 4. Part 4. Thank you for waiting. When my mom got the number, it took a little bit for the number to answer. But then it finally answered. And the number said, "I know who you are. We've been together for a long time." I'm not sure if they meant together in a relationship or as friends, but I'm going to say as friends. I got very confused because I didn't know who it was, and I would have understood their voice if I knew them. But maybe they had some high-tech technology that changed their voice. But then the number hung up immediately and started texting my mom. It kept on saying, "I'm done with your daughter, but now I'm not done with you." I got really scared for my mom because I kind of got her into something. I didn't want to get her into anything because this would all be my fault. Like for part 5. And by the way, thank you for all this support. Part 5, the last part. After the anonymous number was texting my mom, "I'm done with your daughter, but I'm not done with you," she kept on getting fake emails from stores that she liked. For example, Walmart, Old Navy, or even Fashion Nova. She clicked on the Old Navy one. Then it said put in your email and your password, and she put it in because it said if you do it, you get a free discount. Then when it was done, there was a badge on the side that had a smiley face. Then her phone immediately turned off. When she got back in her phone, my friend was calling her. It was weird because my friend was calling her, not calling me. And she asked my mom if I can come over. Then my mom told me, and I obviously said yes because we were friends. When I went over her house, we wanted to play Roblox together. When she was on there, she joined my game, but not on her real account. She joined the game as Ladybug234. And that's why I don't trust anybody off of Roblox.
So when my sister was 9, she got her first period. I was only 7 and it was only my brothers and my dad at home. So me being the only other girl, she called me in the bathroom when it happened and showed me this huge fucking blood clot that fell on the floor. We didn't know what it was and thought she had a baby at home. We named it Chase. So we picked it up and showed it to our brothers, saying it was a child that was going to grow up. So when it was dinner, all of us set a place for it at the dinner table, and when my mom got home she saw it on the table and panicked, yelling what TF was on the table and who put it there. My sister stood up proud as shit saying it was her child.
This is why you should never friend people you don't know on Roblox. I met this guy on Roblox and his name was Jimmy X Bear. He asked if we could be friends on Roblox and I said sure. I wasn't sus of him until a week later when he'd asked me to join his game. And I said sure. So I joined his game. He started then telling me that I was going to get hacked and that I should stay off Roblox. I was completely confused. I didn't know what to say, so I just left the game. After a week or so, I went back on because of how scared I was, and I was logged out of my account. And now I didn't know what to do. So I went to go log into my account. After 20 or so tries, I finally got back in. I looked to go in my Roblox chats and saw Jimmy X Bear. You won't believe what he said next. Come back for part 2. Part 2 of what Jimmy X Bear said next. I went to go look in my Roblox chats and I got a chat from Jimmy X Bear. He said, "Your account is now mine." I was speechless. Right away, I unfriended him and contacted my parents and my friends. None of my friends would believe me, so I said to go on ALT accounts and join his group. I pretended we were a Roblox group of friends and we wanted to be his friend. So for days of playing with him and acting like we liked him, my friend's main account got hacked. Now at this point, I didn't know what to say. I thought it was kind of my fault, so I knew I had to do something. What I did next was friended him again, and I chatted him back and asked, "What are you trying to do to me?" Stay tuned for part 3 for what he did next. Hi guys, I'm really sorry I have not been posting. I got in trouble in real life. I'm not going to go into detail, but yeah. So part 3 on Jimmy X Bear. He decided to tell me the truth of what he was trying to do. He told me that he was trying to get my family, especially my number. He wanted to come to my house. After he said that, I immediately unfriended him and never played Roblox again. At least for like 2 weeks, because I was terrified. I told my parents the story, and they told me I was not allowed in Roblox. At least for a month or 2. I did get random texts and random calls from this number. All I did was block. And yeah, that's basically it. I then joined Roblox, I'd say 2 or 3 more years later, and nothing happened.
Story time. So this was 2 years ago, and I was at school, and it was a normal day until the principal went on the speaker and said, "We're in lockdown, go in your closets." So we went ahead and went in the closets. We were all confused. Some people were scared. Everyone was like kind of asking the teacher what was going on and stuff. Now during this time, I wasn't asking anything or saying anything because I knew during a lockdown you don't want to say anything. So if there is someone in the school, they won't find where you are. But I was still listening to them because I was curious like everyone else. So while everyone was asking the questions, one girl stood up and said, "If you're not going to say what's going on, I'm going to get out of the closet." The teacher yelled at her and told her no. And the teacher yelled loud, so whoever was in the school obviously heard. So the door opened and everyone became silent. And so basically for part 2, welcome to part 2. Okay, so the guy that came into our school was a prisoner that escaped prison. So he was like, "Where are you?" And he stood in there for at least 10 minutes. Then we thought he left, but he was completely silent, and the teacher gave us a look saying, "Do not talk and do not move." So we all listened to the way he looked, and my best friend, the girl that stood up saying she would leave, got up and left. She thought that the guy was gone and she was going to get a counselor. So as soon as she got out of the room, we heard gunshots. As soon as the gunshots said that, I knew immediately what happened. I started crying, and I thought that she was dead. The guy didn't even try to come in the room that we were in, even though he knew where we were. He immediately left, knowing that he should have not shot the girl. Wait for part 3.